All right. For ELA, Yoshi, turn around. We have been working on Michaela to Prince. We're done with that one. If you did not finish it up, make sure you go finish it. But let me share my screen. We're going to go and work on our next one, which is called Bad Boy.
I'm already there.
Good. So that's our first step, pulling up Bad Boy. It's under ELA, literally called Bad Boy. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get that pulled up. I'm going to let it take you guys there. Those of you that are here, get it pulled up as well, please.
This one's pretty short.
It is kind of short, yeah. We'll see how much we get through today.
Wait, are we not doing groups anymore?
Probably when we get back from break, we'll try and do it again. But for right now, no. Also, Mr. Turner is not here. So there's no way to do a group right now because Mr. Turner's not here. And Miss Daphne is busy. So go ahead and open up Bad Boy. Take about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to go check to make sure everybody in the class is getting there while you guys get there as well. Okay? Let me make sure mine goes too.
Okay.
All right, so get it pulled up, please. You're good. You good? Okay, I need to not trouble this. Wow, so much easier when you're in person to be like, okay, you're there. Way faster, yep. So we'll give you guys a few minutes online to get there. For those of you out here, I'm going to give you a job because I can't see the chat on my screen. So if you look at my screen, it just is the picture, right? Up there. Yeah. So if someone has a question or something, let me know. Yeah. Yep. Please and thank you. Okay. Did you see the chat from mine? Yeah. Look at it. Yeah. So when someone can chat. 3, I think. There you go. I can't really see it because I'm glasses. Sorry. Someone else that's not blind, let me know. All right. How are we doing out there? You guys good? Some of you guys are good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird to see myself up there. Oh yeah, there's less to do on this assignment. Yep. No, there's only 2 things. Wait, you guys can't both talk at the same time. Go ahead, Charlie. The bottom one says very fulfilled and like the middle one usually shows 3, the bottom one usually shows 2. That's true. Yeah, we're just gonna work our way through it. All right. So let's go ahead and get going. This one, honestly, I have not read it yet, so we're all going to be in for a surprise about what it's about. So let's go ahead and start off with the background. I'm going to hide this part. Just kidding, I can't hide it if I want to see the background. Let's start with the background. Hard to talk in this thing for so long. It says, in his memoir, Walter Dean Myers describes his childhood growing up in Harlem, New York in the 1940s and 1950s. This excerpt takes place when Myers is in elementary school. Earlier in the chapter, his teacher, Mrs. Conway, lent him books to read after noticing his interest in reading. You might not have it, just so you know. Oh, good. So this kid, did it even say his name? There it is, Walter. His name is Walter. He has a bit of an interest in reading, and that's kind of where we're going to pick up the story. The author is Walter Dean Myers. He wrote this about himself, it seems. If someone writes a story about themselves, what is it called? You guys. Not first person. Say again? You're close. There's something else as part of that. Autobiography. So if someone writes a story about themselves, it's an autobiography. They wrote it about themselves. So by the age of 5, Walter Dean Myers, he was alive from 1937 to 2014, was reading daily newspapers. Despite this impressive start with words, Myers did not think writing would be his career. However, in his 20s, he won a writing contest that went on to find success as an author of young adult books. Myers often wrote about his African American heritage and his life growing up in Harlem as part of New York City. So this guy grew up in New York City. Harlem is a little bit of like a harsh area, I think. Mr. Turner, do you know a lot about Harlem by chance? The Globetrotters. So neither of us know a whole lot about it. Maybe this will give inner city. Yeah. I want to say it's a lot of African American people as well that live there, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's go ahead and do some of these first parts. So I'm going to hide this and let's open up our Making Meaning tab. We're going to skip this part about comparing texts because it's just talking about how we compare what we've already read to other parts. But yeah, we're going to do the concept vocabulary to start off with and talk about some of these concept vocabulary words. Juliana, you might not have all of these sections. Oh, you do have it. Cool. Good. So we're going to see a few of these words as we read. As we know, you can click on it and it tells you what it means. But let's try to do this without clicking on it. We have 3 words here: respected, desperate, and disgusted. What does the word respected mean? I don't know. See, balancing online versus in person is going to be difficult. Yeah, Charlie, go ahead. What does respected mean?
Someone that is being respected.
Good. So he says someone is being respected. What else do you guys got? Anybody online maybe have a definition for respected? No? Anybody else in person? Juliana? Someone looks up to them. Good. So there's a lot of different versions of that. So now we can click on it and see. Respected means that you're honored, treated with esteem. If you treat someone with respect, you're gonna like basically look up to them and treat them nicely. Usually when you respect someone, you're not mean to them, right? Our next one, we have desperate. What does desperate mean if you're desperate for something?
Like really wanting something?
Yeah, they really, really want something. Charlie? Yeah, but what does desperate mean?
Or you need something?
I really want to go rollerblade to school.
Yeah, so you really want something, Madi? To be eager to do something. So we all kind of have a good idea of what desperate means. Their definition says suffering the extreme need or frustration with little hope. So you really, really need or want to do something, but you don't have a whole lot of hope that it's going to happen. And finally, disgusted. I think you guys know what this one means. What about disgusted?
Nasty?
Gross, nasty. Charlie?
When the straw on the floor and then you want to throw up.
Yeah. Because it's really gross, right? You're disgusted by it. It's gross. Any other ideas?
And then they'll be white.
It's true. So please don't do that.
Dislike something?
To dislike something, good. So you don't like it. So instead of like the physical reaction of like, oh, I'm disgusted by it, you're more of like, oh no, I don't like what's happening here. It's that type of thing. So that one, we click on it, says it's a strong dislike, you're annoyed. So in this story, it might be more of the feeling versus like the physical reaction of disgust. Okay. So let's go ahead and scroll down. What do we got here? It says to write some definitions. I think we might skip that. We just talked through it. So we're going to skip this part about the definitions because we literally just said them. And we know that if we click on it, it's right there. So we're not going to write our definitions in on this one. Skip that part. Okay. So we're going to see those throughout our thing. Let's go ahead and close the concept vocabulary and let's do our first read part. We've done this before a lot. It's that chart that we've done multiple times. So before we do it, let's just open the chart and look at it. So you guys should have the chart. Everybody should have the chart. Go ahead and get it open. You might have the chart. No. Maybe just turn the paper over and write it on the back of the one. Okay, so we're going to add our title here. It's called Bad Boy. Spell it correctly. Okay, that's the name of our story, Bad Boy. And then as it's being read, I'm going to play it out loud. Like, I don't think I have to read it. Hopefully everybody can hear it. But as it's being read, you'll do the first part that says notice. What are some ideas of the text? What's it about? Who is it about? And you'll add your ideas here. Then we have annotate, which is the one where you go back into the passage and you mark up some things that might be important. Then we have connect, where you take the ideas from your own life, from the other stories, and connect it to this story that we're going to read. And then our respond right here is basically writing a short summary of the story and then answering the comprehension check when we're done. So just keep these in mind as we read the story for the first time. We're going to notice things, annotate when we're done, connect some ideas, and do the response. Okay, anybody have any questions? Good. Anybody online have any questions? Are you guys ready for the story online?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to play it. Might be a little bit loud because I have my volume turned up pretty high. So those of you online, maybe like take out your headphones just in case it's really loud. You never know. So here we go.
From Bad Boy, Walter Dean Myers. Memoir. Background. In his memoir, Walter Dean Myers describes his childhood growing up in Harlem, New York, in the 1940s and 1950s. This excerpt takes place when Myers is in elementary school. Earlier in the chapter, his teacher, Mrs. Conway, lent him books to read after noticing his interest in reading. About the author. By the age of 5, Walter Dean Myers, born 1937, died 2014, was reading daily newspapers. Despite this impressive start with words, Myers did not think writing would be his career. However, in his 20s, he won a writing contest and went on to find success as an author of young adult books. Myers often wrote about his African American heritage and his life growing up in Harlem, a part of New York City. From Bad Boy by Walter Dean Myers. There were two categories of friends in my life, those with whom I played ball and everyone else. Athletes were highly respected in the Black community, and boys my age were encouraged to play some sport. I loved playing ball. I would play basketball in the mornings with the boys who were just reaching their teens, and then stoop ball or punch ball on the block with boys my age. Sometimes Eric and I would go down to the courts on Riverside Drive and play there. And I was a bad loser. Most of my prayers, when they weren't for the Dodgers, were quick ones in the middle of a game, asking God to let me win. I liked other sports as well, and even followed the New York Rangers hockey team in the papers for a while until I found out that all the references to ice meant just that they were skating on ice. There wasn't any ice to skate on in Harlem, so I gave up hockey. With school out and me not having access to Mrs. Conway's cache of books, I rediscovered the George Bruce branch of the public library on 125th Street. Sometimes on rainy days, I would sit in the library and read. The librarians always suggested books that were too young for me, but I still went on a regular basis. I could never have afforded to buy the books, and was pleased to have the library with its free supply. Being a boy meant to me that I was not particularly like girls. Most of the girls I knew couldn't play ball, and that excluded them from most of what I wanted to do with my life. Dorothy Dodson, daughter of the Wicked Witch, read books, and I knew she did, but she couldn't stand me and was more than happy to tell me so on a number of occasions. Sometimes I would see other children on the trolley with books under their arms and suspected that they were like me somehow. I felt a connection with these readers, but didn't know what the connection was. I knew there were things going on in my head, a fantasy life that somehow corresponded to the books I read. I also felt a kind of comfort with books that I did not experience when I was away from them. Away from books, I was, at times, almost desperate to fill up the spaces of my life. Books filled these spaces for me. As much as I enjoyed reading, in the world in which I was living, it had to be a secret vice. When I brought a book home from the library, I would sometimes run into older kids who would tease me about my reading. It was, they made clear, not what boys did. And though by now I was fighting older boys and didn't mind that one bit, for some reason I didn't want to fight about books. Books were special and said something about me that I didn't want to reveal. I began taking a brown paper bag to the library to bring my books home in. That year, I learned that being a boy meant that I was supposed to do certain things and act in a certain way. I was very comfortable being a boy, but there were times when the role was uncomfortable. We often played ball in the church gym, and one rainy day, along with my brother Mickey and some of my guys, I went to the gym, only to find a bevy of girls exercising on one half of the court. We wanted to run a full court game, so we directed a few nasty remarks to the other side of the small gym. Then we saw that the girls were doing some kind of dance, so we imitated them, cracking ourselves up. When the girls had finished their dancing, they went through some stretching exercises. A teenager, Laurel Henry, was leading the group, and she was pretty, so we sent a few woo-woos her way. I bet you guys can't even do these stretching exercises, Laurel challenged. We scoffed, as expected. If you can do these exercises, we'll get off the court, Laurel said. If not, you go through the whole dance routine with us. It was a way to get rid of the girls, and we went over to do the exercises. Not one of us was limber enough to do the stretching exercises, and soon we were all trying to look as disgusted as we could while we hopped around the floor to the music. They danced to the music as a poem was being read. I liked the poem, which turned out to be The Creation by James Weldon Johnson. I liked dancing too, but I had to pretend that I didn't like it. No big deal. I was already keeping reading and writing poems a secret. I would just add dancing.
All right. So that story actually makes me a little bit sad, because it seems like this boy wants to do all kinds of different things, but what's holding him back? What's the main thing that he's like, I can't do these? Yeah. The other boys would probably make fun of him for doing things that aren't considered what boys would do, which just makes me sad because it shouldn't be limited like that. But that is my own opinion, so we're going to move on from that. Go ahead and open up the chart that's on there, and let's do these different sections. I have to redo the bad boy title. So let's start with notice and annotate. So these ones are going to be a little bit on your own. What was that story about? Who was it about? That's that first part for notice. Go ahead and get those typed in. And then our second part, annotate. Go back and highlight, let's say, two important things. Okay, highlight two important things. That's good. Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, who was involved and what was it about? You guys are working on that part on your own. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. Those of you online, work on that. I'm going to walk around in here to make sure you guys are doing it too. we doing? Getting those done? What is it about?
Yeah.
And who is it about? Good. Okay, I'll give you about 1 more minute on those ones. So who is it about? What is it about? And then highlight 2 important things.
In the highlight one, do we just highlight it, or will it won't be saved?
You can type 2 important things, or you can like literally go into the passage and like highlight some stuff. There's that highlighting tool that you can use. Either way.
Okay.
Okay. Keep working on those 2 if you need to. I'm just going to scroll down and have you guys work on the other 2 as well. So this one is connect. So you're connecting ideas from this story that we just read from Bad Boy to things that are happening right now in real life, things that have happened to you, other stories that we've read, some sort of connections to anything, basically. So let's try and get 2 connections. So to your life, another story, TV show maybe. Whatever you can connect it to. Try to get 2.
Like, what are we supposed to highlight for the second one?
Anything that you think might be really important in the story. Something that you were like, oh, that's going to be a main part of the story that's going to be good to remember, basically. Okay. And then for the summary, let's write 2 to 3 sentences as a summary. So 2 to 3 sentences for what that story is about. I wonder if I can get all 4. Right, so there's all 4. You can see all 4 things you need to be working on. Give you guys 3 or 4 minutes. That sounds good.
And then for the respond on, you write a short summary.
Yeah, just a 2 to 3 sentence summary about what the story was about.
Okay.
Okay. Right, a couple more minutes. I'll give you 2. We might actually finish early somehow. Surprised by that. Yeah. We only have 2 other things to do. I don't think they'll take too long. Because you have to get up early.
I think it was 7 to 12.
Go to it earlier tonight. I can't make it. I'm not able to make it bigger. You said a little bit bigger. No. About one more minute. Same with you guys online. About one more minute. Oh, still. Can you hear that to the wall? I was like, what is it? Mrs. Ellis. So she's probably playing bad boy right now.
Oh, we're all doing the same?
Every sixth grade class and student does the same stuff. We plan all of our stuff together. But yeah.
Can we close it now?
Yeah, when you are done with the chart, you can close the chart. So we're going to go ahead and do our next section. If you're still working on the chart, that's totally fine. The next part is just going to be you working as well. So we just did the first read, filled out our chart. Then our next section is the comprehension check. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. Like we have been, the comprehension check is going to be one that I grade. So I'm going to have you guys do most of this part on your own. Answering these questions in complete sentences. So it says complete the following items after you finish your first read, which we've already read it. And if you need to, read it again. It's not like I'm going to stop you from reading it. So we have 4 questions here. Our first one says, what are the 2 categories of life in young Myers, categories of friends in young Myers' life? So let's write a complete sentence there.
What does categories mean?
He talked about it in the first paragraph. So I'll give you a hint on that one. That one's in paragraph 1, if you need it. Okay. Our next one, why does young Myers keep his love for reading books a secret? And let's do another complete sentence. So why does he keep it a secret? Number 4, what 2 other secrets does he have? Do a complete sentence. The running theme here, we write complete sentences in 6th grade. Okay, so complete sentence there. And then number 4, which you've kind of already done, so you know you can probably just copy and paste. Confirm your understanding of this story by writing a brief summary. So let's do another. You can honestly copy and paste if you want to. 2 to 3 sentences to summarize the story. So there's 4 questions you need to do here. And I'm going to give you guys, let's say, 10 minutes. So it's 9:03. I'll give you until 9:13 to complete the first read chart, if you need to finish that, as well as these 4 questions. Okay, are we good online? Still following, keeping up?
Yeah.
Okay, so about 10 minutes for everybody, whether you're here in person or online, to finish those 2 sections. First read and comprehension check. Okay? We have 23 total. There's supposed to be 10 here today. One person has to go on Monday, Tuesday, so we should have 9. We're just missing a couple of kids. Right here? Oh, I was like, what? Got it.
Have we used philology like the last month? Not like this week.
I don't use Schoology often. A lot of it is just posting the agendas. It's send, I still post them, yeah. And then sending you guys messages. It is the easiest way to get in contact with you guys for the most part. But yeah, other than that, I don't use it very often. Everything I need can be done through Google Classroom, and you guys knew how to use it, so I didn't want to change everything. I think that's all we're really gonna do today. For ELA, yeah. Okay, we'll do a couple more minutes, about 5 or so. Yep. No, because I'm right here, so I can probably help you out with it. But if I'm like super busy, then I can get you okay. What if our class is always this small? What if we always only have 6 kids in class? That'd be nice. 7.
How many people are missing?
There's 3 missing today. One told me that they were gonna be here until Wednesday anyway. I don't know where Skylar and Alex are.
I like Jonathan. He's trying to break.
Uh-huh.
Wait, aren't we going on the break like next week?
Yeah, we're gonna fall breaking.
We have 1 week.
Yeah, it seemed a bit why to me, but oh well. I guess it helps us get out the kinks of how this is gonna work, and then when we get back from fall break, we can just go right into it. I guess. About 2,000 miles. Why?
I don't know. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
It is. All right, how you guys doing online? Getting it done?
Yeah, almost done.
Cool. All right. We got
Yeah.
about, my watch keeps going off. We got about 2 more minutes and then we will talk about some other stuff. I guess I could have given you the book to follow on. Too late now. You wouldn't have been able to write in it, so that's okay.
Would we have a big book still, like how you did and they had all the stories in them?
No, actually, the way that, so the district, like, basically bought this whole reading series, right? All these stories that we're doing are in a big book. But this is the teacher edition. So they only bought the actual book for the teachers. So no matter what, you guys would be doing it online anyway. So it kind of worked out. We only bought the access to the online versions. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is it for all 6th grade and 5th grade or just 6th grade?
It's for 5th and 6th grade. I think that the younger grades might have bought the book so that they could like see it because they're younger and like books are important when you're young to get used to how to read and all that stuff. So
Teachers and students, please excuse the interruption. Teachers, will you please put attendance in for Friday? Thank you.
oh. Yeah, we do attendance a day late because you guys could have done online work until midnight and we would have counted you here. Present, yep. So, yeah, that's how it was. That's why a lot of you guys that didn't come to the live lessons were marked here because you still did some work. But now, it's a little bit stricter. Yeah. Okay. They're online. I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and do our next part. So we have the comprehension check. Make sure you finish that up. I will be grading that maybe tonight. I don't know when I'm going to grade it. But this is the section I'm grading, so make sure you finish it. Okay, the next part, yeah, we'll keep it for now when you're done, yeah. The next part is going to be this research thing. So we've kind of done this before. We did it when we talked about the Syrian refugees last week, as well as I've given you guys small things to research before. So we're going to do that again. You might not be able to do this part. But we're going to choose one unfamiliar detail from the text. I have some suggestions. So you're going to choose one, two, three, four. You'll choose one of 4 things and just write 2 to 3 sentences about what you learn about them. So, some research stuff. You could choose to research. The Dodgers. Do you guys know what the Dodgers are?
Isn't the baseball team?
Yep.
Yep. You could choose to research.
Can I do it even though I already know it?
Sure, that's fine. You could choose to research the New York Rangers. That's not baseball. No, we're researching things that are from the story, not, yeah, these are things from the story, just to give you a little more context on what they mean. So we have, you can choose the Dodgers, the New York Rangers. Do you guys know what sport the Rangers are? Anybody?
I know the Texas Rangers.
They're not baseball. They're hockey, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, they're hockey.
Hockey team. Good. You could research Harlem, which is the city that this boy lived in, or the town in New York. Or you can do the creation, which is the poem at the end that they dance to. And it's by James Weldon. Okay.
Is there a real one? Like an actual?
As far as I know, it's a real poem, yeah. So you're going to research one of these. So just like Google it, click on a website, research a little bit on it, and write, let's say, 2 to 3 sentences about the topic. Okay, so just like a tiny little research thing right now. I'll give you guys a few
So
minutes to
2
do.
to 3 sentences.
Yep, about whichever one you chose. Okay, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that one. So yeah, be working on that. We're almost done with ELA for the day. We're actually going to stop after this. One of these 4 things right here. Gotta have to see. You can do the Dodgers, the New York Rangers, Harlem, or the Creation, which is a poem. So choose one. What's Harlem? Maybe that's what you should research them. What's up, Harlem?
Miss Jones, did you know the Dodgers used to be in New York and then they went move to LA?
Yeah, I think that's why they talk about the Dodgers in this story, is because this is when they were part of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. The New York Dodgers. Before the LA Dodgers.
I said LA Dodgers.
Okay, so take a few minutes, be researching that, finding some information. The majority of population who lives there. Watch keeps buzzing. In New York? It is in New York. New York, too scared. Someone said I have to go. Someone has to go? I think so. All right, Alan, 10:15 for math.
Okay.
Okay, bye. All right. You guys keep doing this. I'm gonna talk to them for a sec. So, for those of you that are online, hang on. We did have to change when math is, just because lunchtime here is at 11:20, so we can't do math from 10:30 to 11:30 because the kids here have to go to lunch. I have to eat lunch, all the little things. So at 10:15 is when we're going to do math instead. So 10:15 to 11:15. So it's about 15 minutes earlier. So make sure you show up to that. Okay? Sound good?
Is social studies still the same?
Social studies will stay the same. It'll still be from 12:30 to 1:30. Yeah.
Okay, I'm done with that thing.
All right, cool. Yeah. If you're online, you can head out. Join us at math at 10:15, please. And